What's up, guys? Emmanuel here. I'm so happy to bring you another video again. Today, it's going to be a very, very different thing from what we've been doing before. Now, it's the same thing. We're talking about religion here, but it's a different person, and they're just different individuals that we are going to be listening to today, not Sam Shimon. What we're going to be listening to is the Janko show with Janko and Andrew Tate. They had a very fantastic conversation about Christianity versus Islam. And I would like you to hear their perspectives on the both sides. I'll make a few pauses as we go into the video and give my own commentary along the way. So stay tuned and watch this video to the end because I'm saving the best for last. Having had that out of the way, let's get into the video.
And I don't consider myself knowledgeable on Islam. I'm new to the religion. I'm only a year in and I'm studying as best I can, but there's a lot of people who know more than me. But from my understanding and my practices, Islam is very rigid and it's strict, and you know what's right and you know what's wrong. And it provides solutions and answers in a very strict, non-ambiguous way. And I feel like if you live a difficult life, like we talked about earlier about why my fan base is so galvanized and why they believe in me, because I offer rigid solutions to problems. And if you come from a difficult place or you were raised in a difficult country or a war zone, you're going to look for that rigidity. I don't think the softness of Christianity, and I don't say that as an insult, I just state that as a matter of fact, will be appealing to people who have come from war zones. I just don't, I think it's going to be very difficult to convert them to Christianity. And we're seeing now in the Western world, huge proportions of Christian countries are now just becoming Islamic strongholds, and they can't be penetrated or changed.
And okay, but you're making it seem like a lot of people that worship Islam, they're very, very strict with their policies. I really, 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 really respect Islam for one reason: the way they stand up for their God.
Absolutely.
And I actually take notes from them.
Yep.
So I don't want anybody. In fact, my God is their prophet.
Yep.
So
we
do see a lot of eye to
right.
eye. We just don't see the final destination of who God is.
Correct.
But I definitely respect anybody in their faith, and I think I'd rather you have faith in a God than you have no faith in God at all.
Agreed.
So we're on the same playing field.
Yeah.
Okay. But to say that Christians have values and they don't follow them, and Islam does, it's not true. I have many friends. For example, you're Islamic now, but you drink and you smoke.
No, I don't drink.
Not anymore. But there's a lot that I have friends with that do.
Yeah.
So the theory of them not following their rules that's just a man. I don't think that's a religion. I think every man falls short.
Yeah.
I think this is the truth. I think an Islamic man that stands in front of me sins against God. And I think a Christian man sins against God.
Andrew talks about so many things there, but some of the key points he makes, first of all, he starts with Islam is very rigid. And for him as a person, that resonates with him. So he's in favor of a religion that maintains its rigidity. And so for him, and then he gives an example about people. So if a person comes from a hard background, a person maybe they are tough, somebody doesn't take any nonsense, So a person who is very, very strong and stern or so rigid. So for him, he goes with the rigidity of Islam because of the kind of person he is. And he says that Christianity is too soft. So for him, why he favors Islam so much is because of its rigidity. That's what appeals to him. But now, that's not really the thing. So he says Christianity is soft. Now I understand that maybe he's not saying Christianity is weak. So Islam has the Sharia law and it says, okay, a person does this, you amputate their arm. And so Islam does that. So for him, he's in favor of that. But Christianity doesn't. Now, if you go down into it, he gives more clarity about that, but I believe we're going to get to that. And so he starts here. So Christianity is too soft for a person like him and someone who is also rigid in their own way of making decisions for themselves and things that concerns their life will not really take a glance at Christianity because they would see that, okay, what will really resonate with them would be Islam. I get it from his own standpoint. But I don't think that's really the case, because a lot of people like myself, for example, I have really tasted a lot of sides. But the side of being on a strict side, even though it wasn't Islamic, and being so tough, and you think you are tough and you want something that will really get you up, or something that will keep you on the check and all of that. For me, it wasn't like that. And I've seen a lot of tough people that they were so strong and tough in the way they lived their lives. But yet I saw them broken by the God of the Bible. I don't believe there's anything that overpowers love in any way. Without love in your life, I tell you, no matter how tough you are, you would just end up being a person who is just keeping the hurt that they feel on the inside without knowing what causes that hurt to themselves. And that's not good for anyone. What softens a person's heart is not the rigidity of their resolve. What makes a person happy is not their rigidity. What makes a person becomes better is neither something that provokes fear on the inside of them, but what keeps a person in line and check is something that shows them love. That is proven all around the world in different instances. You can check. The greatest thing that breaks a person is love. It's not when you instill fear. Children in families, you can even see from that. And you can see that children who do better, even statistics has that, that children who do better in life are the ones who actually received love when they were growing up. And the ones who grew up in areas or in places where little love was shown to them, all they knew was hardness and harshness. Most of them found a lot of difficulty as they navigated through life. It's just the reality of life. Apply that principle to spirituality or to life in general, and you will see that it is the same thing. Now, because Islam tries to instill fear by the principles it keeps or the values, because now keeping the values, or it's by being aggressive. Now, I'm not really saying that Islam is all aggressive. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying I'm saying now by the principles of Islam, the way Islam maintains its principle is by being aggressive so that it can put a stop. So for example, a person mocks the prophet. Islam gets back at that person. There is an incident in Nigeria back in 2023 where a lady, it was said of her that she blasphemed the prophet, and that girl was killed. She was killed by Islamists because they claimed that she abused the prophet. Now, that's how far Islam can go to maintain its principles. Jesus Christ never taught us that way. Muslims sometimes want to justify that Christians are not just keeping these principles because it's been stated in the Bible that the Bible is the author of it. And they refer back in the Old Testament. The Old Testament is not the authority of the new believer in Jesus Christ. Remember, the Old Testament, what it was filled with was judgment and punishments and condemnations. But when Jesus Christ came, he put a stop to all of that. Now, it wasn't like he put a stop to it and saying that, okay, now, no, this thing is not good again, so we are annulling it. No. What Jesus Christ did was to come and fulfill all of those things. So he took all the punishment, all of the things that people will have to suffer when they transgressed. Jesus Christ had to shoulder all that burden so that no one will get to go through that anymore. When he came, he says that the Son of Man has not come to condemn the world, but has come that the world may have life through him. And he demonstrated that when John and James in one village in Samaria refused to receive Jesus Christ. And they asked Jesus Christ if they should call fire like Elijah back in the Old Testament did. And Jesus Christ rebuked them. Jesus Christ is the one we follow. We do not follow any traditions. We are called Christians. Christians is derived from Jesus Christ as followers of Christ. So we follow Jesus Christ's examples. That which he says we should do, that's what we do. Just like the Mohammedans or just like Islam follows Muhammad. That which Muhammad legalizes, that's what Muslims do. So are we Christians. Jesus Christ never said Christians should go the extra mile killing someone or taking lives because they want to protect him. The Pharisees and the soldiers and every other person came to arrest him. Peter unsheathed his sword and struck the high priest's servant and cut off his ear. But Jesus Christ took that ear and put it back in its place. He performed healing for someone who was among the mob that came to take him away. That's love. So that's what Jesus Christ instructs us to do. The softness of Christianity that Andrew Tate talks about there, it's something like it is because of that. Because we tend to overlook all of these things. We do not fight people because Jesus Christ is insulted, but we leave them in the hands of God. And we only urge them to repent. We do not go out there and fight them. And so he talking about the softness of Christianity. I don't think that's actually the thing, because if he studies Christianity, then truly he would know that Christianity is not being soft because it overlooks all of these things. But Christianity is only being loving like Jesus Christ has showed us, the Christians, to do.